Hi, my name is Michael Best, and I'm the game director for Tower Song, Omega Entertainment's first commercial video game. More on that later. So, I have a problem. I really like coming up with character designs in RPGs. Okay, so Tower Song features 4 heroes for players to choose from as their point of view character. And each character comes with their own unique class design, dialogue, and quest reward. So you have Tally, the spellcaster, Cosmic Witch, and she uses mana points, kind of like a traditional spellcaster, so you think, but she doesn't really have a spell list. Instead, she pulls tarot cards from her dark deck. Each tarot card that she pulls gives her access to a different spell for that turn. Of course, she also fights with Gigi, who is himself a party member. And in the field, Gigi can sneak into tiny spaces, finding treasure, unlocking doors from the other side. Then you have Neat, who is the ultimate tempo fighter. And each skill he has adjusts his combo stage. Depending on the stage, he can access different moves. So he has an entirely different moveset each turn, depending on what you're doing. In the field, on the other hand, he can guide song-addled victims through meditation techniques, allowing the party to pass into areas without violence. And then you have Porphyry the Fury, kind of a berserker fighter type character. Her skills generate trance, which is what she uses to access her better abilities. But she can also lower her trance. And why would you do this? Well, if her trance gets too high, she actually goes into Berserker Rage, and players lose control of her. In the field, she can track down weakened walls and obstacles and bust them down and open up new areas to explore. Finally, we have a Zoan, who is our Technomancer. He's a hybrid spellcaster, fighter, maybe your Magus. He casts spells with MP like other spellcasters, but he also drives an exosuit, which is itself powered by gravity, which Zoan generates by casting spells. So you have an interplay of switching into Tech Lance, casting spells, generating gravity, switching back to exosuit, and then using your exosuit abilities to even the playing field. While exploring, a Zoan can hack exosuits to move them around, or maybe just expose them to the player for loot. So why have all these characters? Why have 4 selectable characters? Why not just have them all in the regular party cast? So all of this is driven by a compulsion I have to design RPG characters and classes. And when I'm sitting down with the game at the start, usually I just want to put in every character I have ideas for. And for whatever reason, I'm usually never short on ideas, good or bad. And you might think this is a boon, and I guess compared to the alternative, where I don't have any ideas at all, it is helpful. But let me give you a little context. The original RPG Maker 2000 game that I did in 2002, our first non-commercial game, had 8 members in the main cast. So that initially seems like too many for a game like Tower Song, but the main quest for the RPG Maker 2000 game was actually about 20 hours long, and there was a lot of side content in that game too. So maybe the final game, if you did 100% playthrough, is 30, maybe up to 40 hours, depending on how good you were at finding secrets. But if 8 characters sounds like maybe the right size for a game like that, you should know that I also included an additional 9 hireable mercenaries as well. Now, they didn't have any speaking lines in the story, and some of them couldn't hit the level cap, but still, 17 characters is a lot for 20, 30 hour of game. Too many, some might say, like me. Now, so even the original Tower Song prototype had this problem. It had 7 characters, which you would recognize, but that main quest for the prototype only clocked in around 2 hours. So for the full game, for Tower Song, I knew we would need to rein it in and be a little more focused. I didn't really want to increase the game's length, because not only did I not want to ask players to commit to playing a 40-hour or more RPG, I also knew I wasn't going to have the art budget to create a game of that scope. So the solution seemed genius at first. Let's just narrow down the prototype's cast to 3 main characters and allow the player to choose a main character from the remaining 4. These are all from the prototype, plus 1 extra that wasn't. No, actually, yes, all 7 were playable in the prototype. Okay, so you take 7, you reduce it down to 3, and then the player can choose the 4th one from one of the remaining 4. Well, this allows us to commit our resources to a single main quest line and a handful of biomes that go with that. But still, we could implement all the different class design ideas that we had and still make the game as fun and varied as we wanted to make it. But I also didn't want to have a silent protagonist. I didn't want Tower Songs. Yeah, I mean, I really didn't want Tower Song's four main characters to just see silent protagonists that are inserted into cutscenes that don't have anything to say, or almost just as bad, have fill in the blank dialogue lines that it didn't really matter what they said, and the characters around them weren't really reacting to what was said either. So I really felt that the player's character should have their own goals and motivations and personalities and be vocal about it. Playing that character should give you, so in Tower Song, the hero you choose to play as should mean more than just a different access to abilities in combat, but should also mean that the storyline, that you get to spend time with that character in the storyline. So from there, though, from that decision, we end up saying, okay, we have now a single game with reasonable scope, and then we multiplied it into 4 games with maybe a less reasonable scope. Because we soon realized by making this choice that everything we did had to be done 4 times. So that could be bug testing. Many bugs appeared for only 1 or 2 of the heroes, so campaign playthroughs with all 4 characters were necessary just to certify a build. Then we had combat balance, so getting encounters, so with combat, getting combat encounters right, particularly with like story bosses or major battles, sometimes they were too easy with one character or way too hard with another. And getting them to feel right with all 4 was its own kind of unique design challenge. Then you even said stuff like side quests. If we're adding a side quest with a unique reward for one hero, at the very least, we had to design 4 rewards. But then, beyond that, we also wanted the side quest content to feel different, unique, not just a treasure chest that gives you a different reward depending on who you are, but treasure chests in different locations. Well, that meant designing 4 times as many side content just to have the same number of items per playthrough. And then, like I alluded to before with the storyline, while some cutscenes do not really involve the hero and the dialogue is the same regardless of your hero, most of the cutscenes we wanted the hero to bring their own personality to bear in what was going on. And this meant that a lot of the cutscenes in the game were actually rewritten from scratch, depending on the hero character that the player was playing as. And then, of course, you had the class design, which was the whole point of it. But, that means 4 different classes that you had to design and balance around. So, did this work? Well, I think it did work. The game certainly took longer to develop than I anticipated, but the result is something special. Because you can choose from one of 4 characters, and each character has their own lines and motivations and items, equipment, side contents, and of course how the party composition can change because of that one character's skill set. Choosing your character in Tower Song can be a unique experience. So whether you play it once or all 4 times, one with each character, your choice feels rewarded and recognized. Even from the world building, playing through the story, the things you learn about the world, or the way that characters talk, or the motivations that other characters reveal can change depending on your hero and the unique perspective they bring to the story. Party builds and battles also play out very differently because of that different class design. How you play your sniper or your mana knight really can depend on whether your main character has a mana pool of their own or can tank. So we're happy with the result, but will we do it again? I don't know. It's actually a lot of work, but I did learn a valuable lesson about scope all the same. So maybe that's progress for me. A sign of progress anyway, right? That's good, right? All right, well, see you next time.